Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Creation Myths. Tonight, I am super excited for this show. I have a bunch of great people already here, and I think more people are going to rotate in as we go. So, what we are doing tonight is that a few weeks ago, I hit 10,000 subscribers. I have no idea how or why that happened, but somehow I hit 10,000 subscribers. So what I want to do with this show is basically what other people did for me when I started and as I worked my way up. So I would never have hit 10,000 subscribers without a bunch of friends and collaborators who invited me on their channels and collaborated with me, invited me to contribute to their videos on their channels and, directed their audience to me. People like Dapper Dinosaur, Jackson Wheat, Guts at Gibbon, RJ Downard, Mike from Answers in Atheism, Paula Gia, Aaron Ra, Professor Dave, right? Just tons of people. I'm sure I'm forgetting people. Amy Newman, I was on her show way back. Tons of people that kind of helped me get more exposure. And I wouldn't have hit 10K without that, assistance. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to bring on a whole bunch of friends and collaborators and people I like on YouTube that some that I've worked with in the past and some I haven't, and they have fewer than 10,000 subscribers, and the point is for everybody to meet everybody else's audiences and everybody get more exposure, and because everyone that we're going to see tonight deserves way more subscribers than they have. So let's get those numbers up. That's what we want to do tonight. So I'm going to bring on, we have three people here already. We've got Dr. J. Bundy.
All right. Hey, congratulations, Dan.
Thank you.
I feel so special being the first one on.
And then we've got Maya Atkinson is here from Bad Science Sunday.
Boo, Maya, why are you taking my shine?
Wait. Dr. Dan, congratulations. I don't know anyone who deserves it more.
That's very kind of you and also not true, but thank you. I appreciate it. And Jordan from Reason to Doubt, our favorite Shroud of Turin expert, right here with us tonight.
Why are you going to do that to me, Dan? Why are you going to do that?
So everybody, so these fine folks are linked in the description. Everybody should click those links and subscribe if you're not, for some reason, already subscribed. And what we're going to do tonight is, as more people come and go, RJ Downard was here and he had some internet issues. Hopefully he gets back in. But all this stuff is linked down below. So click those links. Make sure you subscribe. What we're going to do here is we're just going to go around the horn, give everybody a chance to introduce themselves, tell you what they do on their channels and why you should subscribe to them, other than the fact that I'm telling you that they're awesome and you should subscribe to them. And then I have a question for everybody that's here tonight. And the question is this: what is your favorite piece of bad science or pseudoscience, or however you want to interpret that question? What is your favorite thing that's bad in pseudoscience? And we're just going to have fun and talk about all this nonsense that we all deal with, because the overarching thing with everybody tonight is we all deal with pseudoscience on the internet in some way. So I want to go directly next to me to Dr. J. Bundy first. Jay, thank you a ton for being here. Tell everybody what you do.
My pleasure.
On the internet.
Rant. I do a lot of rants. Host a show called The Hot Program with my one black friend. I don't even know what we do. It's counter-apologetics, social issues, politics. It's kind of, my channel is whatever I'm feeling needs to be addressed, to be honest. But you come, some people say the streams are entertaining, but I think you mostly come for the community. You come to meet the wonderful people in the chat, and you get to hang out with those people in the Discord, or we have Gather, which is like a virtual headquarters. So I think it's really a place people come for community and to be with their friends. And yeah, just come check it out, come meet some cool people and have a good time. And yes, we'll probably be doing some of this woke, atheist, cultish behavior that you've been hearing about. We'll probably be canceling people. It's a good time.
I can say it is a good time.
Yeah. Come hang with the woke mob.
There you go. That's it. That's the name. That's it. We've got the name for your fandom now. The woke mob is the name for your.
Love it.
Great. Are you in the woke mob? Of course, I'm in the woke mob. Jay is awesome. How could I not be in the woke mob?
Yeah, how could you not be in the woke mob?
I love it. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with the absolute pantsing that Jay gave Michael Behe a while back, you should, because it is a thing of beauty. You could find the complete debate on Michael Beverly's channel, who I hope is going to join us in a little while. If you haven't seen that,
check it out. That's fun.
Debate.
Shout out to Michael.
You should see it. It was fantastic. Yeah. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Now, Jay, the key question here: what is your favorite piece of pseudoscience or whatever? However you want to interpret that question. What's your favorite pseudoscience, misunformation, bad science?
So I'm going to keep it very basic, but for a very particular reason. So I'm actually going creationism. But the reason is because, shout out to my friend, Big Thing, Flying Wayne. He would always say, what people hate more than about evolution than the apeness of it is the Africanness of it. So I just love, in the climate that we have, all of the people who were just into the superiority of certain people and certain cultures, that they get real excited about their ancestry and who their ancestors are. That when they really, really get a hard dose of reality, it's going to be people from a very, very particular part of the world. And I'm here for it. I love it. I know it's simple, but timeless.
Yeah, it is. It's timeless. It's been the same forever, and it's never changing. It's going to be here forever. It's they're just going to be chugging along. It'll be 500 years from now. They're going to have that stupid art park in Kentucky just doing their thing forever. It's going to be churning out their fake papers.
Yeah. So creationism for the Africanness of human ancestry and the cold shower that will be for many people.
Nice. I like it. All right. Let me go to Jordan next, right below us here. Jordan, first, tell us about you, your channel, what you do, and then we'll get to the important question.
Sure. So I'm Jordan. I'm a nuclear engineer, but on YouTube, I mainly focus on the fact that I'm an atheist and a skeptic. And I run the Reasoned It Out YouTube channel with my signature style sense. And it's a channel that's focused on skepticism. So we tackle specific claims and I try to focus on not what to think, but more how to think. I try to show the way that I approach problems, how I try to mitigate bias and, correct my own misunderstandings when they happen, and try to show good habits for how to get in touch with and learn from experts, because to the extent I have expertise, it is in one very small field. And so when it comes to other things, I have to rely on those experts for their knowledge. So, and I have been fairly accused of being a woke apologetics channel. So I happen to think that skepticism applies to all regions of life, not just science, in politics and social issues as well. So yeah, if you don't like that, get bent. I don't know what to tell you.
yeah. It's a why we did.
It's just, I mean, I know it's a pejorative in the right, but it really is kind of a call to a little bit the original meanings of just being aware of facts. It's like, wait, I don't like facts. You're saying facts. You're woke. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
And Jordan, you've been a victim of the same types of comments that I've been a victim of over the last year or two. As I've kind of changed a little bit of what I do, as kind of creationism there's only so many things you can debunk before you've debunked them, like you've addressed them all. And it's comments along the lines of, I came to this channel for science. Why do you have to make it all political? It's like, where have you been? What did you think I was doing the whole time?
Whenever I see those, I know that they haven't watched very much of my channel or like seen me just talking. It's kind of like when people are like, man, I miss Rage Against the Machine when they weren't so political, you know?
or Star Trek when it wasn't so woke.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah.
You tell me you've never paid attention without telling me you've never paid attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
exactly.
So Jordan, tell everybody what your favorite bit of pseudoscience is and why it's the Shroud of Turin nonsense.
So that is one of my favorites. However, for the purposes of this question, I thought I would go in a different direction. My favorite is ball lightning. And the reason is because I did an episode forever ago, just kind of like random listener questions, debunk this, look into that, whatever. And I just kind of lumped them all into an episode. And ball lightning sounds crazy, right? So like it's this ball of plasma that people see like bouncing on their dashboard when they're in planes. And they see it like rolling around in fields. Farmers see it at night when they're tired. Pilots see it when they've been flying for hours. It sounds insane. And it is, if you're going to see it on TV, it is always with like psychics, ball lightning, alien abductions, right? like that is the circles in which it thinks. So I went into it expecting to see that, but
crop circles.
Like exactly. It's like ball lightning and crop circles. One like join at the hip.
Yeah,
right?
no, yeah, the peas in a pod.
Yeah, exactly. And so that is how I intended or expected to see the evidence when I looked into it. And I looked into it, and ball lightning is real, you guys. It's like an actual documented thing. There's like
wait, what is ball lightning?
So ball lightning.
The answer is always alien.
Yeah, so it's not exactly clear what it is like, but the phenomenon is like a ball of plasma or something like that exists for a few seconds, moves around a bit in unpredictable ways, and then disappears. Often seen during lightning storms, though not necessarily.
Oh, that sounds pretty cool, actually.
It sounds crazy.
Around, like,
it sounds cool, but also
close power stations or like close to. Oh God, I haven't looked into this in a while, but aren't they like close to like power? Not generators, but buildings or like
transformer stations or something.
Yeah, stuff.
Yeah, sometimes. But when I looked into it, so I found like some surveys of people that saw it, but like people claim to have seen crazy stuff all the time. But there was a group of researchers in China who were just looking at lightning. They just were studying the lightning storms in this particular region of China. And so they had all this cool equipment to capture the lightning, and they captured ball lightning with their equipment while they were there. They just happened to see it. And they got like pictures of it, and it's full spectrum and all this stuff. And so it's not pseudoscience because it's real, but it's one of those things that like, it's important to always, part of skepticism that I think is missed by people who call themselves skeptics but don't actually engage in skepticism is when you find evidence, you should change your mind given that evidence, right? And so I came into it fully expecting ball lightning to be bullshit, and I was wrong. So I changed my mind, you know?
Really so.
Yeah, that's cool,
awesome.
actually.
Yeah. We don't get enough credit for doing that. And I think it goes underappreciated.
Changing our minds.
I often say that like it's like magic. I'm sorry, Maya's delayed like 2 seconds.
Well,
so I feel like I'm
your brain is not set up to do that at all. Confirmation bias is like really high on the totem pole for the brain. So no, if you can do that, I mean, it is the mark of a real critical thinker.
I often say that like if you think all the same things now as you did 10 years ago, you probably didn't think very hard in the intervening 10 years.
Exactly.
You know? And if you
That's
find
so
out you're wrong, all you have to do is change your mind, and poof, like magic, you're not wrong anymore. It's too easy, you know.
This one weird trick. It's one of those
right.
things. All right, so before we move on to Maya, I just want to read a couple comments here. So first, we got a super chat from Earthly Skeptic, and appropriate name for what we were just talking about. Wow, so true about people hating creationism due to the implications on our ancestry. I think we should all feel honored to have ancestors from Africa. Yeah, like it's where we're from.
It's a fantastic point. That's how we should feel about it. But boy, I got a feeling.
People have, I mean, there was the thing a couple of years ago. Who remembers the thing in from, it was somewhere in like England or Wales, they uncovered a skeleton that dated back to like the Roman Empire, and they were able to like extract some DNA or something, and they were like, oh, this is an African skeleton. And the right-wing freak out over the idea that there might have been black people in England 2,000 years ago was, why are we getting upset over this, folks?
Yeah, that's a whole thing.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And it was
that, which is crazy.
People who romanticize places where we didn't exist.
Yeah, like no,
it
the Roman
should not surprise you at all. Like Africa was still like an epicenter of
there were
a lot of stuff.
There was a Roman emperor from Africa.
There was a bunch. There was a bunch.
You know?
The Severan dynasty was African. They were from Africa. It was a whole series.
Yeah, I was thinking about Rome. I didn't want to say it, but yeah, that's another empire people like to imagine didn't have any dark people.
They freaked out when they found out the statues were painted.
Yeah, they weren't all just plain white marble. Yeah.
They do not. You can't have people of color even if they're painted statues.
Nope.
It's not.
Nope. So the other comment I want to read here, as I have to scroll up to find it, is from Kip Davis because it's relevant to Maya. It says, congratulations, Creationists. I watch a lot of YouTube, but there's one show I never miss. Maya's Bad Science Sunday is must-see hilarity, irreverence, and education, and I want to co-sign that. Whenever I can watch Bad Science Sunday, I do. I love Bad Science Sunday. So Maya...
Me too.
Kip Davis, such a filthy.
So Maya,
I'm currently on the blacklist, but I've been a guest on Bad Science Sunday.
I want to know how you got on.
It is an honor.
Threw me off twice for religious service.
Fair enough.
I'm just saying. And then I went on my show and I told all the people, like, Jay says he's an atheist, but I happen to know.
So Maya, before we get too far down the rabbit hole, tell everybody about yourself, what you do on the internet, and then we'll talk about your favorite bad science.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maya Atkinson. I have the super creative channel name of at Maya Atkinson. So if you'd all like to go over there and subscribe, we have fun over there. We talk. I have a show that premieres every Sunday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time called Bad Science Sunday, where we go through every rabbit hole. If it's trending or has trended, like I want everyone to know what the pseudoscientific people or the idiots are talking about so that they don't get duped. And what do you mean, this oil doesn't treat cancer? I've never heard of it. So a lot of it's just education and a lot of it is normalizing laughing at idiots. I think that there's way too much where we have to give both sides an equal platform and, I'm like, no, you can laugh at Nazis, it's fine. That's actually what should happen. They should never be taken seriously. So there's a lot of propaganda, and I try to showcase that whenever possible, that these are things that were said about, certain people. And, I'm not one of those people to call everything I don't like Nazis, but the Nazis did have a lot of like crazy
literal Nazis,
pseudoscientific ideations that have made their way, through the ages up to today. I want people to be able to see those when they, to recognize them when they see them so that they can recognize a lot of it's just recognizing propaganda so that we don't fall into it. And, I think that a lot of it is just laughably bad, but, I do try to promote critical thought. whenever possible. My co-host is a PhD. Well, yeah, my co-host is a PhD physicist, so he can speak on a lot of sciencey stuff that I, can't necessarily speak to. My degree is I have a master's in organizational psychology and employee development, which is a really fancy way of saying I studied human motivation. And
highly relevant for this topic.
By day, I am a mild-mannered HR director. And at night, I am a very sex-positive, affirming, debauchery-laden goddess. And we have fun.
Yeah, I love Bad Side Sunday. It's always such a good time, and kind of like what Jay was saying about just like making a community. It's just a wonderful place.
Wait, did I blink out?
You're back.
No, you're fine.
Sorry. Okay, sorry.
Hey, you're not on a delay anymore. Now you're better than you were.
Yeah.
So we'll take it. I was just saying, while you may have been frozen, I was just saying how much I enjoy Bad Science Sunday and how, like Jay was saying, it really is just a wonderful community that you and Dr. Tapioca Weasel have fostered there. It's just a really fun place to just hang out. And I can't agree enough about the fact that we just need to laugh at these people sometimes. Like, we have to take this stuff incredibly seriously, like, as far as like calling people Nazis, like they're real Nazis, like they're actual real Nazis, just openly
real
Nazis. So like we can call them Nazis.
Yeah,
In fact,
when I say Nazi, I want to be clear. People who believe that Hitler had it right.
Right.
People who believe, in eugenics and the reptilians, and like the Nazis believe all of this stuff. It is here today in my country. So I'm not using the term lightly.
And I just want to take a moment to appreciate...
But also inner Earth people are also Nazis, and we do that too.
To appreciate that the Nazis we're currently dealing with and talking about laughing at them, these are the biggest losers on the planet. Like Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Mike Johnson are just 100 grade A certified losers.
JD Vance, can we just...
JD Vance, right?
He had a thing... JD Vance had this like 3-paragraph anti-Harvard screed the other day, and the energy coming from it was, I wasn't invited to the cool kids party 20 years ago, and I'm still mad about it. It was just like the most, like, I was uncool. People didn't like me in college, and I'm never getting over it because I refused to go to therapy. Energy coming from this like 3-paragraph Twitter post from JD Vance. And yeah, these are just giant losers who can't order freaking donuts like a human being because they don't know how to interact with people.
Yeah. And they have so much money and power, and it just, there are things money can't buy. There are things you can't boss your way through. And having a personality is one of those things. Like being likable by other human beings is one of those things.
Yep. Yeah. So before we get any further, because I'm sure there's a lot to talk about here, I want to just pull up a couple of comments because RJ Downard was with us before, but his internet pooped out, which happens to him frequently. But I want to just... So I want to just pull up a comment from James Downard. He is linked down below. And if you're not familiar with RJ, make sure you subscribe to his channel because RJ is the guy when it comes to basically doing the creation argument phylogenetics. This guy can trace every argument back through every iteration going back decades and decades. And, you'll see something new or something that seems new on AIG or Discovery Institute or whatever. And he'll fall, that was from so-and-so in 1992, and then he actually stole it from so-and-so in 1985, and that was from, Rushdoony back in whenever, right? And he'll just get the whole history of this stuff. And the beautiful thing about this is creationists love to create these fake lists of references, and RJ has all this stuff, and he'll chase down all these references and show that it's all fake. And it's just, you peel back the layers and it's like one random dude from 40 years ago that everyone's been citing since. And there's actually nothing there. it's all just nonsense. So everybody should follow RJ. He's co-authored the book The Rocks Were There with Jackson Wheat, which I have that. It's right there. It's that big thick one right next to the Dungeon Crawler Carl books. And they're working on volume 2. And he's also got a really great one about mammal evolution called Evolution Slam Dunk, looking at like the reptile to mammal stuff. So everybody should subscribe to RJ. He's linked down below. And in addition to that, also just want to give a shout out to Dr. Joel Duff, who does great work over on his channel, which I have not linked down below, but I'll add it after the show. He does one of my favorite things on YouTube, which is This Week in Creationism, or This Month in Creationism, or this, however frequently he gets to it, in Creationism. And he just keeps up with what all the big creationist organizations are doing like it's his job. And it's so awesome to just see what everybody's doing, where they agree and disagree, and just keep an eye on all the stuff going on, like the power struggle at AIG. I don't know who the players are. I don't know everybody involved, but Joel knows exactly what's going on there, and he'll break it down and, make sense of everything. So RJ is already in there. Joel is not, but I'll add him. Everybody should subscribe to those 2 channels. They're great.
That sounds awesome. All right, I got to get out of here. I love all y'all. Congrats again, Dan, and we'll chat soon, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. Appreciate being here.
Thanks so much.
Did we get Maya's piece of pseudoscience? Was that the fascist thing?
Oh yeah, Maya, did we get to your favorite pseudoscience? We were just talking about
no, I was just talking about what I cover on my channel.
Thank you, Jay. Which is, thank you, Jordan.
We're making our way to the
list. So Maya, what is your favorite bit? And you've got the full catalog to pick from, right? Like, I'm really narrow in what I do. You've got the full gamut. What's your favorite bit of pseudoscience?
I try to take down everything. I can't remember what we did a couple of weeks ago, and I was just like, oh my gosh, what do you mean? Oh, it was the soul catchers on the moon. And I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't gone through this with you guys. Oh shoot, I should probably do that. So yeah. Now they're all caught up on that. But that's a hard one. I want to say
soul catchers on the moon? What is that?
Yes. All right. So
what in the world?
You have to take as a given that you have a soul. Now the reptilians need people here so that they can feed on their anger. So when you die, they recycle your soul and force you into another body when you're born, because period. And yeah, so yeah. So there's a receiving center for the soul, then it like washes your previous life off of you, prepares you for your new journey, and then you go back into another soul. So we've all that, which also explains past life regression, and everything just kind of works itself out.
As soon as you said the lizard people, I knew we were off to a great start. Like,
well, they have to do it off your anger, so they need to make sure that you, in particular, are back. Oh, and angry, obviously.
Well,
so that's why we can have nice things, because the evil. It's not because we're allowing the rich or giving into the us versus them created by the rich. We totally don't have any control in it over our anger, and it's 100% the reptilians, which is cough cough, not the Jews.
Well, I tell you what, if they were trying to design a world to make me angry, they nailed it. They're crushing it.
I second that.
Yeah, that would actually, I was going to say, probably, I don't know. Like, it's hard to say what my favorite one is, because I want to say Flat Earth might be, like, it gives me a visceral reaction every time I hear about it. But I think if I was one I like the most, might be the one. Hi, Michael Beverly. I'll let you talk in a second. There is and I keep trying to get my co-host to co-sign this, because I like the idea of there being more than one dimension that we can elevate into. And if you just meditate, enough, you can ohm your way into a timeline where Trump was never president and you can just breathe a breath of fresh air.
Don't do that. Don't give me hope.
It'll happen eventually. It'll happen, and he won't be president anymore. Eventually.
Yeah,
I mean, I just want to second.
We still have to live in the world where he was, and it's not fun here.
So two things I want to. First, I just want to second what Jordan said about if you were designing a world to be angry. Congratulations, you succeeded. My favorite Marvel superhero is the Hulk for that one line in the Avengers that I've never identified with a fictional character more. Just for that one line, I'm like, oh man, this guy gets me. Yeah. And the second thing is that's not even your favorite bit. That's just something out there. So do we get to your favorite?
Oh yeah, I was saying my favorite, the one I like the most is the one where there are multiple dimensions and that you can, I don't know. So you have to lighten your vibrations and you can meditate into a higher dimension where things are easier.
I would like for that to be true. That sounds cool.
I would love for that to be true. Yeah, there's a dimension where, you know, just completely everything's egalitarian and social, let's say socialist, pretty much communist. It's just like in everybody talks about the fifth dimension. It's coming any day now. It's their, what do you call it? They're not Armageddon, but like what's the Left Behind thing? Where you're raptured. It's the rapture. Yeah, where you can, you elevate. And actually, don't you know this? What happened to the Mayans? They all meditated together and elevated into the fifth dimension.
No, I'm pretty sure that was small. I'm pretty sure that was small.
Where we had them, and now they're all gone because that's the thing. But it is believed.
Wow, that is.
Because they elevated into the 5G, and that's how you know you can do it too.
Into the 5. Is this connected to 5G somehow? Is this connected to cell phone service? Because if the abbreviation for it is 5G, then
that actually it's the fifth dimension. We're in the third dimension, so you got to get to the fifth dimension where there's no money. We just live naturally on fruit. It's always sunny, and you know people never want for anything. You just always have food and clothes, and there's actually higher dimensions where you don't necessarily you can choose to have a body or not, so you don't necessarily need clothes, and it's a whole thing. It's a beautiful world that they talk about, but alas, I find no evidence of it, and I meditate a lot, believe me.
That is something else. That is out there. That's an impressive one. And like I said, you've got the full menu to choose from, dealing with this stuff every week. For how long? Because this has been every week. For how long has this been going? So
2.5 years.
Yeah, you run through the easy ones real fast when you do this every week for 2.5 years. Yeah. That's impressive. So everybody.
Yeah, but Flat Earth is the one I hate the most. Like so much I won't even allow it on my channel.
Good. Stupid. Yeah. All right. Great. So folks, that's my Bad Science Sunday is must-see TV. Link down below. Don't miss it. Joined us while we were chatting, Michael Beverly. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. I'm so super happy to be here.
Where's the solstice?
Where's what?
Ahead. I stepped on you. I apologize. Go ahead.
The solstice baby. I just want to eat him up.
The baby went to sleep. When I first started listening, he was crying and fussy, and I'd given him a bottle, and he's now knocked out, cold, sleeping. So hopefully that'll last an hour or two.
Hopefully that lasts.
knock on wood. Yeah, he's quite often on the show with me or on streams, but it just sort of depends on his mood. Speaking of which, he does appear with Dr. Dan, Dr. J, and PZ Meyer, and I did a show which will be coming out, I think, maybe a week or so. I had a big backlist of stuff. So me,
Wait, hang on. Sorry. How do you have a backlist of things while you also have a baby? How does that happen?
I know, right?
I do a lot of recording and editing with him on my lap when he's sleeping, and I like take that time. Like, okay, I'm gonna do some stuff, and so in that interview with PZ, he was sleeping for the good half of the interview, and all of a sudden I said to PZ, "Oh, you aren't aware with my show. I better show you." I keep looking down. I didn't want you to think I was playing with my crotch the whole time because I kept looking down and moving him around. But I know he's alive. So the other good show. So the first thing that we did together was Dan and I talked about just the science and why anti-science is so harmful. And I wanted to bring a real demonstration. If you don't mind, Dr. Dan, I'm going to put something up on the screen here. Hopefully we can kind of see. I don't know. Can you guys read that? Evolution, are these the facts? Can you guys read that? It's from biology.
Read those words.
Biology 1 in the 80s. This is my report on evolution. And so I just want to demonstrate why it's so important, because I was in this indoctrinated community, very insular. The introduction of my report says, "This is a report on evolution, not proving it, but disproving it." Dun, dun, dun. It's done scientifically, mathematically, and logically. And, goes on and on and on. And I have not read this in a million years, but I've kept it as a reminder to myself. And here's the bibliography. I don't know if you can read those names. My goodness. I use Jack Chick and Dwayne Gish as my sources, and Henry Morris.
Oh no.
Well, okay, keep in mind this was 1981, and those are the guys. I was in a funny evangelical family, and we didn't have the internet back then. So it's very easy. I don't fault myself, and I can't really even fault my mom, because my mom was also indoctrinated and didn't know any better. And she thought she was helping me when she took me to the library to get, Henry Morris, PhD. And we took a trip down to what at the time was some Creation Institute museum in San Diego. I mean, I went there and saw how dinosaurs and humans live together, and et cetera, et cetera. So I bring that up to say the work that you guys do. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a real scientist. I'm just a guy on the internet. But I respect what you guys do, and I just want to say thank you and keep up this good work. It's really important, especially with the internet now. I think there's so much access to information that hopefully high schoolers aren't turning in reports like that having a bibliography that includes Jack Chick tracks, Chick publications.
So that's a great segue. So Michael, tell us what you do on the internet other than hosting, prize fights where Michael Behe gets a wedgie. Other than that, what do you do on the internet?
That was a good one. Well, so I also interview a lot of I interview a lot of people. I've cut down on live stream since of the baby because it's just hard to do. But I do, like, I have a current series right now on responses to Christian apologetics regarding slavery, which is one of the big issues. I've read work and listened to Dr. Josh Bowen, and I've also had him on my show a couple times. And I think this is an important thing. And in that series, I reached out to Black atheists or Black non-believers and asked them to come talk to me about it, to try to answer the question of, like, how do we deal with this? It's still an open question, and I'm sure you deal with it in the same thing with dealing with creationists. How angry do you get? How important it is to point this stuff out? And I get angry, and I think it's important, and that's one of the things I do. And I also do response videos to Christian apologetics, and I get kind of angry in those. I like to target people like Mike Jones and other, whether it's Frank Turk or William Lane Craig, that kind of stuff. And I do a regular thing with Dr. Jay Bundy, who is a hero of mine. We don't always talk science. We did the thing with Behe, but we also talk about social issues. You guys were talking a little bit earlier about politics and so forth. So we do get into that. And I'm planning on getting into that more because of the way some recent events have happened on YouTube and the drama. I've been very motivated to talk about this because I think it is super, super important. And I notice on some of my recent videos that there's this undercurrent of racism that pops up in my comments. And I'm like, okay, this is motivating me more. So I'm going to continue to work on this. Now, all that to be said, I did one of my favorite shows, which wasn't super popular. I guess my audience wasn't into this, was a plant evolutionist. So I reached out to a professor at Cornell. He is...
if you say Dr. John Sanford, I'm going to lose my mind.
No.
Thank God.
It was Dr. Carl Nicholas. He's got a beautiful mustache. And why is that another guy a bad guy or a good guy?
John Sanford is a former Cornell guy, and he's a plant geneticist. He invented the gene gun, and he's the genetic entropy guy. And he's one of my I'm building up a list of arch nemesis, but he's one of them.
He's one. No, okay.
Yeah. I have it wasn't him at this point, but he's on the list. Yeah.
No. So Dr. Nicholas just is a co-author of a textbook that hasn't even published yet. I'm going to try to get through it. It's on abiogenesis hypotheses and he wrote it with two other Cornell people, I think. Anyways, he sent me an early copy. It comes out, I think, at the end of the month or in a few days.
I need that book.
And he says in the intro, these are all hypotheses that are based on science and can be tested. None of them are proven yet. And this is what's so cool about science. Whereas when you get, you know, the Christian apologetic, here's the truth. Let me show you why. Here's our hypothesis. So when I interviewed him, I'm like, man, what you're doing, you're a hero to me. And he's like, well, you're a hero to me for having me on. I'm like, I wish more people would get into plant evolution because like dinosaurs and primates and all the big animals get so much of the attention. And I think plants are important, obviously. And I think plants hold a key to stuff that may unlock some of this abiogenesis and chemical prebiotic stuff. So that to me is interesting. Maybe you and I can talk later, Dr. Dan, about what I learned, and maybe we can share some notes. And so Dr. Carl is a super cool guy. Maybe you could touch base with him. All right. That's my thing. And if I want to leave space for everybody else, so could I just tell my favorite thing that I don't like?
This is the $1 million question. What is your favorite bit of bad science?
My favorite bit of bad science is the apologetic that near-death experiences are absolutely proof there's an afterlife and a God and all the bullshit that goes with that. Forgive me for saying a bad word. The reason I hate near-death experiences so much is because unlike a lot of bad science, most people just disregard it. But the average Christian hears near death and they believe it's a legitimate thing that has legitimate scientists that have legitimately peer-reviewed and done experiments and yada, yada. So that's why I hate it so much. And if a Christian was hearing me, they'd say, well, you hate it because it's so effective. Well, yes, it's effective, but it's effective only because the people endorsing it lie. They obfuscate. They do all the stuff you guys are well familiar with. And so that's my favorite thing to hate. And that's my story.
There was one of the Dan Brown books. And look, I read a lot of books. I love reading books. I will cop to reading Dan Brown because that man will write an engaging plot. I don't care if it's well written. I know. I don't want to hear it from the book nerds. I'll enjoy a Dan Brown book. All right. One of his books, he does that little like science blurb in the beginning of each book about how like, here's the science that I'm using in this book. One of them, the blurb was about like a soul is real and you can detect a soul stuff. And that set me down a rabbit hole of like, is that actually true? And within 20 minutes of like, just checking this stuff out, every pseudoscience red flag. And everybody here, you all know the pseudoscience red flags, right? The selective quotes, this famous person said this thing, and the references that sound sciencey, but you like check the journal and it's not actually a journal, right? It's like shading where the references come from to make it, an example from Creationism is a book got published through Oxford University Press, and the person who the creationist who wants to hype this, Sal Cordova, says they got published by Oxford, as though like Oxford University was endorsing the work, and it was like all those kinds of things. It was exactly all the red flags, but it was that same kind of like, oh, you can detect a change in mass when a person died, like all that stuff. And within 20, 30 minutes, it was every red flag that you see in creationism and all this other nonsense. It was all the same. So I totally hear you on that.
Yeah. Don't you know, stuff. They put a dying guy on a table with a hermetically sealed bubble. And,
right. Yeah.
And after he died, the mass changed. And so we know the soul departed. Yeah, I've read that one too. It's totally hilarious.
And
so
literal,
that's my thing.
Literal N of 1 in that study.
I've been meaning to do an NDE series for a while, but when I looked, I usually start by trying to find the best argument I can that disagrees with me, and I start there, right? And I look and I found, there's this peer-reviewed paper that is talking about NDEs. I was like, perfect, I'll go there. And it looked like it came out of my church's newsletter. It was like the top had Jesus' tomb with a stone rolling away. I was like, we're off to a great start.
This is
beautiful.
Right away. Yeah.
Very promising. Yeah.
Well, I did a response video to Sean McDowell, had a guest on who's an expert in NDEs.
No.
And Sean asked him, please, your top 5. I want your top 5 examples. And I think he did them in reverse order, so it'd be his worst example, but it was still his top 5. Was Mark Twain had a dream where his brother, who had died in an accident, shows. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's not even an NDE, but Mark Twain's a fiction writer. He has a history. And his own mom said
not just a fiction writer, but a famously irreverent satirist.
Yes, 100%, 100%. So
I've got a better one. I had somebody that gave in one of the videos, they gave a near-death experience to this Christian, and they said, when the medics came, they could barely feel the heartbeat. And it's like, wait a second.
Hang on.
Wait.
Hang on.
You've got a heartbeat.
He's only mostly dead.
Right?
Right. No.
Yeah, where's Billy Crystal when you need him?
Oh man,
I remember as a Christian, I heard one of these stories of a guy that got stung by a box jellyfish in Australia, and so they hype it up. It's the most dangerous and venomous, and this and that, and his whole testimony is, when I was in the hospital and I was clinically dead, I went to hell, and I'm here to warn y'all, hell is really terrible.
The thing that gets
maybe just talking about Australia, maybe
right. That's just
or maybe that just hurt a lot.
The thing that gets me is for the most part, that they do claim that there's some special knowledge sometimes of these NDEs where they're hovering over the thing and they do the model number. Sometimes they have those things, but most of it is just stuff like that. I went to hell. You can just grant almost everything they say, and all it means is this guy hallucinated when they almost died. Okay,
and
and
what they seems to be culturally significant as well. For instance, somebody in India will see Hindu and elephants, and somebody in Western society will see angels, and so it does seem to be
a common one,
right? Exactly, yeah. So
it's weird. It's weird that it never goes the other way, right? It's never Mary showing up to somebody in Southeast Asia, right? It's a weird coincidence that never happens. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They put together a NDE journal that they claim is peer-reviewed, National NDE Journal, something like that. But it's peer-reviewed in-house by its editor.
Oh,
and as soon as I seen that, I was like, that's all I need to know.
It's a YEC journal.
Yeah.
It's the same as Biocomplexity or Answers Research Journal, where if you look at the list of editors, reviewers, and authors, it's the same people repeated 3 times. Yeah.
Yeah, I always go look for that. And what you were saying about sources from creationists, that's the thing I always tell everybody. Anytime a creationist gives you a source, go look at it, because nearly 100% of the time when it's anything of substance, it's a lie, a quote mine, or doesn't exist.
Yep. And there have been some of those wait a minute, that doesn't actually exist things that you go down the rabbit hole and it's 3 layers deep. You go, wait a minute, this doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're saying, but it's not there. And it's always amazing.
Congrats on 10K.
Yeah, congrats. Well, I think the funniest is the cell phone. The creationist cell phone is the funniest thing. When they cite to you something, a guy once said that dinosaurs were dragons and sent me a document that proved that dinosaurs breathed fire. And when I opened it, it was actually a document of some person in research had listed all of the reasons why it would be impossible for a mammal to, or even a reptile to breathe fire or in any way, shape, or form. And it's like, I like, did you read this before you sent it over? No.
And there's a word for that now, thanks to, I know
Really?
this from Dapper Dinosaur's channel, but the word for that, when if you trace it back and it ends up refuting the claim that they're using it to support, that's called a Trojan source.
Trojan source. I love that. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's when the source that the creationist cite refute the claim that they're using it to support. It's called Trojan source. And I've learned that. I don't know if that's a Dapper Dinosaur community invention, but that's where I learned it from. And I love that so much because it happens so often. It happens all the time. All right, so this is a good time. Before we go any further, let me just pause for a couple of comments here, and then Mark, we're going to go to you because I brought you in next. So first, we've got for $5 for Left-Handed Jedi. My pet invisible dragon had an NDE and said she saw a rainbow tunnel and greeted by a Shera on the other side. I believe her. LOL. Yeah, sure. Just take it at face value. That's fine. You were hallucinating. I'm perfectly willing, when it comes to near-death experiences, to just accept
prove them wrong.
People hallucinate as their brains are doing weird stuff. Yep, I fully buy into that. Yes. Vortex, I don't know. I want to highlight this one from Vortex Alpha. I don't know if this is supportive or derisive. I can't tell. I don't know. But look at all the God haters together. How cute. I just want to say, you can't hate something that doesn't exist, and I tend to not play that up on my shit.
I don't know. There's a lot of fictional characters. There's a lot of fictional characters I have strong emotions about.
I have very strong opinions about Moash, and you probably do as well, Jordan.
Right. I have strong opinions about that baby, and yet I've never met them.
Well, but the baby exists. So
the baby is here to just he's here to destroy. Say hi, buddy.
That's fair.
Well, anyways, he gave me enough sleep time to come and congratulate you, Dr. Dan. So I'm going to bow out. I appreciate the invite. I love all you guys. I mean,
good to see
I've done stuff. I've done stuff with a good chunk of you all. Oh,
that's awesome. All right, go hang out with the baby. Folks, Michael Beverly is linked down below. And if you haven't watched the Behe thing, watch the Behe thing. Michael, thank you and have a great night. That allows us to bring on Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson, it's a pleasure. We'll get to you in just a little bit. We're starting over here with Mark.
What in the world? Where have you been?
Sorry, go ahead. We've missed your debate now, your blow by blow.
Yeah.
So we're going to get to Mr. Anderson in just a minute. Mark, tell us all
Before
about...
Mark goes, I'm going to drop so you have room in case more people show up. But
sounds good.
Congratulations so much, Dr. Dan. It's nice talking to all of you.
Jordan, thank you for being here, and we look forward to the next Shroud video. I say that not sarcastically. I can't wait.
Bye.
Later, bud. All right, so
I can just imagine Otangelo gripping his chair, like Shroud video. No.
And this is great. Jordan leaves. That timing was perfect. Jordan leaves, and Dr. Chris Thompson jumps in. This is fantastic. Chris. This is great. Mark, tell us about what you do. I don't even want to know what time it is for you. I have no idea. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh no, it's totally cool. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning. It's totally fine. Great. Totally fine. Yeah. No worries at all. Yeah, good morning. And I just interviewed some people from BahaCon talking about BahaCon,
nice.
Hearing what's going down. So and we're talking about secular humanism, and I want to promote it more as a way of thinking, as a really good philosophy for how to make moral decisions. So I'm sort of on a secular humanist bender at the moment. I'll put it that way. But generally, I do debate, and I started off on YouTube doing debate, which I still do. I've got a debate coming up, secular humanism versus Christianity, so I'm really trying to focus on that at the moment. And so I've heard a lot of wacky scientific thing. As you know, I've been on Standing for Truth, the ironically named Standing for Truth. I've been on Modern Day Debate. I've been on Raging Tomato. I've been on a lot of debate things and heard a lot of claims. My favorite one, and you know, and I said to you in email, Dan, I'm not a scientist as well, so I want to echo what Michael said, and what he said is very, very prescient. It's sort of that, you know, I'm out on there doing debate, you do debate yourself, but I'm not doing research. I don't say, hey, here is my opinion on something, because it's really not relevant. Science is the best way to determine what is occurring in our universe and what isn't, like what is to distinguish truth from fiction. It just has been the best way. So you know, I got to thank you, and you absolutely deserve it on the 10K. I've learned a ton from you. As I've said by email, I've actually learned a ton. Your videos on evolution, on retroviruses, on everything, you know, has been incredibly useful.
It's not about me.
Well, just that, yeah, but just genetic entropy, by the way, that was some amazing series of videos. Look, I'm going to gush for a little bit, Dan. You've got to understand, like, you have helped me a lot, and you're going to have to put up with me thanking you, because it's been really helpful. Anyway, all right, so moving on. All right, fine. Look, your humility is amazing. There you go.
He's literally turning red here.
I am. Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm putting you on the spot. I'm sorry. All right. So my favorite argument of all time is something that I ran into while on, you know, Donnie Deal's channel. Which was, you bring up ice core samples, right? Like the ice core samples, it was at about 800,000 years old, was the largest ice core sample. In January, they drilled a 1.2 million year ice sample, and they can tell, right? You can tell from these ice samples what the atmosphere used to be year by year, because they're layered in permanent glaciers, right? So
and it gets incorporated into the ice,
Right, you find bubbles of atmosphere in this ice, where the ice has, it doesn't exactly melt, but it becomes softer, and then it's compacted, and then another one's compacted on top of it and traps these bubbles. And so their favorite argument against, oh, well, these ice samples can't be true, is the Lost Squadron. Has anyone heard of the Lost Squadron, right? Planes crashed in Alaska, I think it was. No, it was Greenland. Sorry, Greenland. And the ice sort of they found this squadron under the ice. So their argument is, well, it can't possibly be you know, a sample, because, you know, obviously this squadron is lower. These planes are lower than they should be. So all ice samples should be just thrown out. And it's hilarious because it keeps coming up. And the thing is that we drill for core samples like in Antarctica on permanent glaciers, ones that don't melt and then refreeze. The Lost Squadron was on an active glacier, something that does melt and refreeze. And so it's sort of like, well, we do take ice core samples from active glaciers, but not the ones that we're talking about. So it's just a failure to understand the difference between an active and a permanent glacier. That's it. That's their entire argument of why these ice core samples. But they're really fascinating, because you can actually see the banding change and darken from the industrial era onwards as we put like tons of carbon into the atmosphere. You can see the the Milankovitch cycles, where the sun like gets closer. They can actually follow the Milankovitch cycles across the years in the ice, as because the Milankovitch cycles is the variation between how close we are to the sun due to the orbit kind of thing. It's really fascinating how much they can tell. And like I say, the amount they can tell of the atmosphere is incredible from, now 1.2 million years ago. That's insane. I don't know. I find it fascinating.
I think that is awesome. I didn't know any of that stuff. And this leads to something. Before we went live, RJ Downard was with us, and then his internet had a problem, so he had to leave. But he was saying this thing about how great it is to have a network of people where any one person can't learn all of this stuff to deal with all this nonsense, right? But you have a network of people and you can cover it all. And this is such a great example. I have not had time to do ice core sample stuff. I've heard that argument, and I just figure somebody else can like handle the ice core stuff. But that quick explanation, now if it comes up, I'm equipped to like, no. I can handle that. Like that's wonderful. This is what I love about having this, this extended network of pseudoscience debunker people who just, everyone has like the little thing that they've dug into, and you can, everyone now knows like how to deal with that. That's just fantastic. I love it.
Well, so before it's mostly just we've all heard different arguments from creationists and go, well, I want to fact check that, right? Like, I want to know if that's true. And we all go out and check it because we don't just believe it offhand.
Yeah.
But that seems to be what their audience does. It's just, oh, yeah, the Lost Squadron, that's got to be true.
Right. So before we keep going, I got a couple comments that I want to highlight here. First, from Vandalia 1998 for $5. Thank you, Vandalia. I appreciate that. Watching you all instead of working on my future novel like I should be. Procrastination. Keep up the good work teaching the masses. I thank you. And look, as somebody who, if it's a day I don't have class and I'm at home, sometimes I'm just like, could I do real work or do the laundry? Sometimes I'm just going to do the laundry instead. I feel you. I understand how that goes. I also, nope, not that one. I also want to highlight this one from Baba Ali. Didn't Trojan Source come from Rationality Rules? I honestly don't know. I heard it on Dapper Dinosaur the first time. I don't know where it came from. If anybody else knows, feel free to tell us because I have no idea, and I would love to give the right person credit. And then from the aforementioned RJ Downard, there's going to be a bit on the Lost Squadron in Rocks Volume 2. So everyone be on the lookout for Rocks Volume 2. I'm looking forward to it because Volume 1 right over there is one of my go-tos. That's why it's right there. So I can yank it off the shelf and hit the glossary when I need something. It's really great. All right. Mark, thank you for all of that, and thank you for being here. So I want to go next to Joe from the Kentucky Atheist. Now, Joe, we haven't met before. Hello, welcome. It's a pleasure to meet you. From what I've seen of everybody, you're doing fantastic work, and you're organizing the ARC protest, which is that's a big deal. So tell everybody what you're about, and specifically tell us about this ARC protest that we have going on.
What I'm about? That's an interesting story. But so yeah. I do a lot of, I'm not an expert in anything or nothing like that, but I've had a lot of experience talking about various subjects, and I feel comfortable doing so because of what you talked about, the network of people that we have that can give good sources to where I can use those things to not only provide sources and stuff to refute the claims of creationists, but to show that there's not only no evidence for any of that, but there's no good reason at all to suggest it at all. So I talk a lot about various things and do a lot of community-based stuff, talking about what's going on in the world of creationism, in atheist YouTube drama, stuff like that comes up a lot. And I don't really take real hard positions on those things. It's just more talking about those things with the community itself that comes by to do so. The ARC Encounter protest takes place in Williamstown, Kentucky on July 6th this year. And this will be the 7th one they've had in the last 9 years that the ARC Encounter has been open. The ARC Encounter, owned by AIG, is being subsidized by Kentucky taxpayers, essentially. And they are now into homeschooling, and the damage that they are doing to children and to everybody is really something that can be seen. I live somewhat near where the ARC Encounter is, and rural Kentucky, eastern central Kentucky, is chock plumb full of creationists. And so I give them shit about that. Like that's That's right. kind of the goal. I've done debates. I've done various things. You know, like I do a lot more common sense talking though. Is the thing. If I'm even able to provide that, who knows? I don't really care. I just say what comes to mind. I'm not really. You know, it doesn't matter. It's activism, advocacy, that kind of thing is what I'm into.
And that's what we need everywhere. And this is like one of my pet peeves with like every iteration. Now I want to be clear about this. I am like ride or die, vote blue no matter who, because we have a fascist party in the United States. We have a not fascist party in the United States. You vote for the not fascist party. Like that's not even a question. But one of my things that I will hammer on nonstop is the Democratic Party needs to stop writing off entire regions as not winnable, right? It's not about winning. It's about losing 70-30 instead of 80-20. And then the next cycle, you lose 75-25 instead of 70-30, right? It's about closing that gap and picking up people on the margins that's going to make the freaking difference. And so, I mean, Joe, what you're doing in like a really tough place to be doing that is exactly what needs to be happening. It's like, goodness, I have it easy. I'm sitting here in central New Jersey. Like I have it easy. All right. It's, you know, people doing this kind of thing, not on a coast. That's where this work needs to be done, right? Because that's where really ground zero is. So like I said, we haven't interacted before. This is my first time meeting you. I'm thrilled that you're here. But I've been following you for, you know, a couple of months now at this point, just been adding you to my list and seeing what you guys are up to. And like, I think it's so important that this stuff needs to be happening on the ground in the places where it's hard to do. So thank you for being here. And I really appreciate it. I don't know if you can still hear me, but when you come back, I want to hear what your favorite piece of bad science is, because, you know, we have to take pleasure in the small things in life. And sometimes, as Maya likes to do, it's all about laughing at the nonsense and the people who promote it. So I want to hear what your favorite bit of bad science is.
I turned off my camera because my kid came in the room.
I got it. Yeah.
My favorite.
And if you have to, Joe, if you want to go and come back, all good. Don't feel like, you know, all good.
No, I'll wrap up talking to you and then I'll go to let other people come on and stuff. But my favorite piece of bad science has to be the Noah's Ark story. I mean, like the Noah's Ark story and the catastrophism position that they take. I've debated things to do with Noah's Ark and then T-Rock with his crazy geology stuff.
T-Rock, man.
I recently debated Kent Hovind, but that was a completely different thing. But you know, like I like to talk about that though. I think it's interesting because it's one of those things where it's like, not only can you not provide evidence that it's true, but we have mountains of evidence, literal mountains of evidence that it's not. And so I love to do that and just stick it to them. And I get joy out of their anguish.
I feel you. And I totally agree with the flood stuff of just literal mountains of all you have to do is find rock layers where there's evidence of a flood in between. Just find the layers where it's like, that's where the flood is, because we know what that looks like. Find it where we have a layer of rock everywhere in the world, no matter where you look. If you go down 65 million years, you find asteroid impact everywhere in the world, right? So why can't we do that for a flood? Why can't we do that? Should be there. It's not.
We have like evidence of like the Missoula floodplains. We know exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, we know what major flooding events look like because there's evidence of those happening. And if you want to suggest that there's this major flood event, we know what that evidence should look like, and it's just not present. To say that they have no evidence, I shouldn't have said that. They have evidence, it just sucks. And it's false.
I mean, I'll say they have no evidence because every layer where they say is a flood layer, it turns out you can find things like channels carved by erosion underwater because we know what that looks like.
Explain the KT boundary. That's all I need.
Right.
One of my favorite One of my favorite things is just, you can find layers that have trace fossils in them. So how does that occur
exactly.
if all of it is due to a massive flood?
Right. Why were there dinosaurs walking at the bottom of the flood waters as it was sedimenting? Yeah, exactly. It's nonsense. Every layer, you could say there's the flood layer. You can find something in that layer that conclusively says that didn't form in a flood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that me, or is that noise in the background somebody else?
I should recognize it.
Yeah,
there's definitely static coming through.
Yeah, there's something. Hold on, I'm on mute.
I don't know.
No, it's not me.
I think it's Mr. Anderson.
Is it me?
Right.
No, I think it's Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson, mute yourself for a second.
It's the Matrix.
Mr. Anderson, mute yourself for a second. Yeah, it's Mr. Anderson. Yeah. That's okay. We'll live with it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. So, Joe, thank you again for being here. I really appreciate it. And totally agree on the flood being my when we get back around to me, if we get back around to me, my answer to this question is related to the flood. It's a teeny little bit of it that is one of my favorite things that I've ever heard from a creationist. We'll get there eventually.
Well, thanks for letting me come say hi and stuff, and congratulations on your milestone. And I'm pretty sure you and I will be talking very soon. So.
I am sure we will. And folks, I haven't yet linked the Kentucky Atheist down below, but after this show, I will add them to the list. So they'll be on there. Make sure you subscribe, because the point of this is to get more subscriptions for these fine folks. So thank you, Joe. Do what you got to do. Have a great evening. Hang out if you want to hang out, or don't. Either way, it's all good.
Really? I thought the intention was to for us to come on and make you blush, Dr. Dan.
No, that was just what you managed to do.
Okay. I misread the room. I still apologize.
Do you want me to tell a dirty joke?
Not if it'll get me demonetized. Please don't.
I'm kidding.
So I just want to just go through a couple of comments here before we get going. So I put this up a minute ago, but I'll put it back up again from Farscape Forever, just singing the praises of the Kentucky Atheist, and I agree. And then we've got from Pegajace, if I recall correctly, neither Dapper or RR is certain who got to it first. And from Vesta, welcome Vesta, Dr. Dan, Trojan Source came from Rationality Rules in response to a Matt Powell video. That's perfect. That it came from Matt Powell just makes it even better. Everybody's favorite, the air and space is different creationist, which if you don't know what I'm talking about, please Google that, put it into YouTube. The air in space is different is an all-timer from Matt Powell. There's so much good. Creationists are just the best in terms of material like that. So, Mr. Anderson, welcome. It's been a while since we've talked, but man, I love what you do on the internet. So tell everybody about what it is, and then we'll talk about your favorite bad science. Wait, we can't hear you. No, nothing.
Have you tried unplugging it, plugging back in?
You should unplug it.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Mark, do you work in IT support?
I have done a tremendous amount of IT support. Yes,
and it's amazing how often that works.
It is incredible.
I wanted to. Well, we don't call it turning it on and off again in technical support. We call it a power cycle, because if you just say turn, that sounds too basic, right? You got to make it sound a bit more technical. So, have you tried power cycling? It just sounds better.
Yeah. So, Mr. Anderson, I'm going to give you a minute to troubleshoot this while I go to Chris, and then we'll come back to you for all your stuff. But folks, Mr. Anderson is linked down below. You should go check his stuff out. Oh, wait a minute.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Much better. The static is gone and we can actually hear you.
You fixed it. That was incredible.
Yeah.
There you go.
Magic.
Did you power cycle it?
You know what? Thanks to you, Mike.
There you go.
Oh, my pleasure.
So there's like I don't know, 3 things that I specifically came, on the stream to do. The first was to congratulate Dan on a huge milestone.
Thank you.
Does anybody want to guess how many YouTubers make 10,000K subscribers?
10,000K would be a lot, Mr. Anders. That would be a lot of
Sorry,
subscribers.
10K. I apologize.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to take a guess as to what percentage of YouTubers make 10K subscribers?
5%, 3%.
Yeah, I would think like
it's
low
less than
single.
that.
I would think low single digits.
No, you're dead on, Mark. It's something like between, depending on who you ask, it's somewhere between 4 and 2%.
There you go.
So,
all right.
Congratulations on being in the top 5% ish of all possible.
I'll take it. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of a really big deal.
Let's be clear though. That is a long tail, right? So yeah.
But, a lot of people don't get above 50,
1K or even 100.
1K. Yeah, don't most people don't hit monetizing. 10K is 10 times monetizing, I think. So, it's a huge deal.
While you're, since you bring it up, PZ Myers is here, and I just, speaking of making people blush, I just want to say that I got to chat with PZ Myers, with Michael Beverly and Jay Bundy last week, and as someone who's been reading his blog for over 20 years, man, PZ Myers, one of the OGs in all of this, and I wouldn't be doing this literally if not for him doing this, and he is now on YouTube. He is not linked down below because I wanted to have him come on this show, but he has 12,000 subscribers, so he is over the limit for being on the under 10K show. But everybody, if you're not familiar with PZ Myers, he's been doing the anti-creationism thing for as long as anybody. It's my fault. I mean, kind of. I was reading your blog during the Dover trial when I was a freshman in college. So a little bit. So everybody should just make sure you go subscribe to PZ too. And he's one of the big names in all this. Just wonderful. So sorry for that digression. Mr. Anderson, please keep going.
Well, I should say, you are you were my PZ Myers though, Doctor. You were
I'm going to blush again.
One of the reasons that I got into this whole thing, and for anybody who doesn't really know what it is I do on the internet.
Yeah, tell us.
It is. So maybe I'll tell you my sort of villain origin story. Yeah. So I'm a lawyer by trade. I'm an active practicing lawyer. And one of the things I love most about lawyering is cross-examination. Just the technique, the art of making somebody who knows they're wrong, they're wrong, they know they're wrong, they don't want to say they're wrong, and they don't want to admit it. And like there's a skill and there's a technique to bringing that out, forcing somebody to bring that out. And I remember watching one of Dr. Dan's videos and going like, he's right there. He's, there's a couple of little things, just little, and you would get the person and they would, but they're slick. These creationists, they're slippery. And
oh, they are.
I don't know if you ever saw, but I wrote like a long comment on one of your videos in on my real name, and I got no response. And it was like, you need to do this and 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 this. And I was like, all right, I need to do this myself and make it clear that I do know what I'm talking about, so that people will listen to me. And then I can share my specific skill set and have people sort of, really nail these guys, really kind of force them to get these admissions. And I'm really pleased with the results. In fact, Dan is, I think, if I can remotely take credit for anything that he's done, I will, because he's used some of
I have
the things that I've been on about. And I remember specifically, you and I did a review of one of your debates where where I think you kind of deliberately employed some of the things I was talking about. And Dan, to his great credit, totally put his own spin on it, and really kind of incorporated it into his own style, and got some crazy good admissions from this guy, and it sparked like a.
It was this was the junk DNA thing with Casey Luskin from last year. It was Dr. Casey Luskin and the junk DNA stuff, and it was specifically in the conclusion when he said we know that less than half the genome is functional right now, or whatever variant of that phrase he said. And what I would have been inclined to do was like, hey, call it out. You said it. Let me pin you down on that. But because of something that Mr. Anderson had done, looking at one of his own interactions with Mr. Kent Hovind, I knew to just take it and just move on and just get it. And it's on the record. And now we're going to move on. And then I was able, after the debate, to say, I just want to highlight this one thing that he said. Just want to get that so everyone heard it and make sure he said it. He didn't pull it back. This is the thing that's now his position. And that led to a months-long,
3-4 months of them trying to unring that bell. And it's like, he said it, and we're gonna just crucify him on it. And I was like, yes, that's exactly.
And that was. I just want to say I loved your deposition of Kent Hovind. That was actual gold. It was actual gold.
Oh, I did enjoy that. Kent Hovind. I mean, he's very, very slippery, right? But it's it's my specific skill set is tailor-made to counter his his slipperiness, because I mean, he's very happy to answer questions, and I was like, well, if you're going to answer him, I'm going to ask him.
Let's do it.
That was the wild thing. He didn't ask a single question through all of that.
He walked right into it. He let me. He knew I was a lawyer. He knew that going in, but I don't think he really understood what that was going to mean. He thought he was going to be able to razzle dazzle, and no, man, drilling down is what I do. And it took a while, right? Like it took, I think, an hour and a half or something like that. But in the end, I got him. I cornered him.
Yeah. And I don't think Hovind's had a good victory rate with lawyers, quite frankly.
Nope. Well, he tries to be his own, which is problem number one.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Represented himself
and he's also he's a big fan of this. It's in a movement in legal circles called the Freeman on Land movement.
Sovereign citizen.
Whole other thing.
Sovereign citizen stuff.
Sovereign citizens, which is by the way a bad idea. Don't.
By the way, I just want to highlight this from the Kentucky Atheist. Yeah, it's if you want to see somebody like appreciate the craft of a debate, like just how to do it, watch Mr. Anderson, because I mean, it's what you do. This is your job. This is your profession that you have trained to do. And us amateurs, we can pick up what works and what doesn't work along the way. But like, you are trained to get people to say things they don't want to say. That is your job.
Yeah.
And it shows. It shows.
So if you guys are interested in so how do I do that? Like that's my channel is basically dedicated to that. And there's like two audiences, right? One is like the Just Bleed audience, where it's just like, I just want to watch him like pwn some creationists, and that's there too, right? But if you really want to get into it, then there's the more, I don't know, less watched, but I feel like more valuable side, which is like, these are the nuts and bolts of how I'm doing this, what it is I'm doing. And I'll kind of walk you through it, and we'll go through a debate, or we'll go through one of my debates, or we'll go through, one of Dr. Dan's debates, or Chris, at some point, you and I should definitely sit down, and I'd be more than happy to walk through one of yours.
Oh, I would love that.
Oh yeah, you've had some good moments. I really like some of the arguments. So there's I'll call out the good and the bad, and Chris, there's lots of good. In your debates.
I appreciate that.
So. Chris's last debate was amazing. That was with Amy Newman. That was fantastic. Watched it. Absolutely fantastic debate, Chris.
Appreciate you saying that. That's very nice. Yeah. So, that debate was on modern day debates. It was on our trans men. And so, one issue.
Yes.
Go on.
Just for the record, folks.
Exactly. Yes. I know. And I appreciate that. Yeah. So I took a different tack to that debate than I've seen a lot of other people take when they take the affirmative, arguing from a biological case that yes, trans men are men. So, yeah, I appreciate that, Mark.
So I want to highlight this comment from Blazer Mark IV. The cancer as a kind from a kind was classic. Yeah, using the canine transmissible venereal tumor as an example of one kind becoming a different kind was A+. That was fantastic. I loved it.
Well, because Ken Hoven's thing was like, have you ever seen a dog, become a non-dog?
From a dog. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I'm like, yes, actually. Here's an example.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever seen that, and I was like, well, I mean, except for you and I, just right now, because
just right now we can see
example.
It. Yeah, and Maya,
unless you argue that a cancer is a dog.
Yeah,
somehow.
Maya, I want to get you.
No, and I love
Go ahead.
that. What?
Your mic has been on and off, so I want to make sure you get in and everybody hears you.
Oh no, I was just gonna listen to everybody talk and let them go. I didn't want to I have a bad habit of cutting people off. So if my mic's off, then nobody has to hear me talking over them. Mr. Anderson, so is this your debut back into the community? Because a lot of people have been missing you.
It's tough because I'm an actual active practicing lawyer. I mean, I spent all day talking about tree law today. And
tree law?
Yeah, I wish I was kidding, but I'm not.
Someone had a tree on a property.
Tree law. So yeah, that's what I was going to say. Did somebody's tree grow too far over?
Yeah, that was one of them. I actually had 2 different tree law cases today. So one of them was somebody's tree was on the one side, and then the roots grew under the driveway and cracked the driveway, and they're like, well, how what can I do? Can I sue the guy? Can I just cut the tree down? Can I kill it? Right? Can I poison it on my side? Can I cut all the branches off right at the property line? What can I do? Right? Yeah. And then the other one was some guy had, was decided he just wanted to come on some other guy's land and just cut down a whole bunch of trees. And there was a reaon why he thought he was entitled to do it. And
I'm not a lawyer, but I'm pretty sure you can't do that.
Well, in this case, it was a little bit but yeah, I mean, I agree in that situation that he shouldn't do that because I was on for the guy whose trees were getting removed, right? But
was he a freeman on the land? Maybe is that
no. Neither one of these guys were freemen. Yeah, that freeman on the land is you don't need to do a lot of research. So unless you want it, if you guys
do they ever walk into lawyers' offices? Have you ever had to deal with one?
A walk-in? Or a freeman?
A freeman that solves it. Yeah.
A freeman? Yeah, I have. Yeah, I have. I've dealt with them in the wild. Yep.
In the wild. I just want to say, I just need to jump in and just say to everybody in the chat right now, chat, I am disappointed and horrified and delighted by all of the bad tree puns going on right now. I am all of those things at once. I just want to say that how dare you, and also thank you for being wonderful.
Oh, I'm not looking at the chat, but hey, does anybody want to see what Dr. Dan would look like with hair?
I mean, I can probably, there's a picture going around. So here's a fun story about me with hair. The hair is secondary to the story, but I had hair. You can find a picture of me on my channel if you go to my when I had Dr. Charles Jackson on a few years ago, which also Mr. Anderson, talk about events with fallouts. I don't know if you remember the time Standing for Truth talked about herbs for 6 months, but that was my fault. Including he wrote a book on it. That was my fault.
Yes.
I
know you went on to Amazon and reviewed his book and gave him 1 star because it was terrible.
Ian Chen bought it for me. And yes, I did go on Amazon and review his book after I read it. Yeah, it was really bad. But that was due to a debate about with Dr. Charles. It wasn't a debate. I had him on just to chat. It was Dr. Charles Jackson. And I did a debate with Dr. Charles Jackson when I was in college. And so there was a picture in the college newspaper from this debate of me and him. And it's kind of like if you know the scene from The Office where it's like the young Michael Scott with the executive dude, and he's like, oh, it was kind of like that. And so there was a very young me on this in this picture, and I found it and found the thing and took a screenshot of it and showed him when he came on. So if you want to see just the bright-eyed little young Dr. Dan before he was Dr. Dan debating just Dr. Dan and his silly creationist adventures in college. You can look at the very beginning of that video. I show that picture, so you could actually see me with hair if you want. I don't know why you'd want to.
I was going for a bit, and I just wanted you to share my.
But that's fine. I'll add this to the stage, and we could. Oh my goodness! Yep, I've heard this before.
Does anybody else see it?
Wow.
You're not the first person.
Wow, doppelganger.
Right?
I almost didn't recognize you. Holy cow.
I will say you are not the first person to bring that channel to my attention and say, is this you, but with hair? You are not the first person to do that.
Wait, is that a different guy?
That's a different guy.
Oh my God. No, that's it. That's what I would imagine you to look like in your 20s or something.
My hair was a little bit darker. I did, as is required, have long hair in college. So, I did have a ponytail in college, as is that's when you sign the contract.
As is tradition.
You need that. They boot you out if you don't do that by the time you're end of your junior year. So I did do that. My hair was darker when it existed, but
fair enough. I just thought that was an uncanny resemblance.
I will not say how.
That is funny.
I will not say how many people have pointed out, except to say that you are not the first or the second.
It doesn't help that he's holding Dungeons and Dragons books. That doesn't help.
That's down a wig and talk about whatever he talks about.
Right. Yeah. So, Mr. Anderson, did we get to your favorite bit of pseudoscience yet? Have you got to tell us what your favorite thing is that in the debunker sphere?
Oh, well, I was thinking about it. Does it have to be something that the creationists say, or
it could be whatever? No, you should have heard Maya's from before. It was. Let me tell you, it was out there.
It's awesome. It was the best one.
It was the best one.
That's fair. I'm sure it's going to remain the best one, regardless of what anybody else says. You know what? I want to give you. I want to give you something to ponder. It was an idea that I've had cooking that hasn't seen the light of day. I'm going to premiere it on your channel right now.
There we go. Here it is, folks. Breaking news.
Are you about to make one up right now?
No, I thought about this before, but I'm going to say it for the first time. So it's this. So according to creationists, the flood has laid down all of the sedimentary rock from the Cretaceous, at least, to the present, right? At least.
It depends on the organization. They have different, where the boundary is. Yeah, ICR is weird. All the rest are a little bit earlier, but yeah.
Right. So 100 million years to a few billion years, whatever, depends.
Right, depending on.
So what that means then is that you had to have a flood that was violent enough to scrape up.
Yeah,
the rock, Cambrian to the Cretaceous. Sure, that's a good yes. Cambrian to the Cretaceous. So that means that you had to have a flood that was with water that was with enough volume and enough force to dig up and erode that much, which it's about a kilometer's depth worth of rock all over the world.
That's a lot.
And then churn it up. And then redeposit it, right? Which would mean how much PSI are we talking about here in terms of water to do that? It's enough that it's going to kill everything, right? And then the other problem is if you have that much sediment in the ocean at one time, or even over the course of a year, the turbidity of that water is going to kill every single fish. So,
but have you seen my sand toy? But have you seen a sand toy that Kent Hovind turns over?
I've seen that sand. I kind of want one of those. They're awesome. But if you have that much sand in the water,
Yeah.
nothing lives.
That's it. That's a great one. I love there's all these like kill shots for the flood. And yeah, just the sediment that has to be in the water in order to lay those down is great, because creationists are very clear that you're not bringing fish, you're not bringing all these marine things, right? There's no jellyfish, there's no starfish, there's no squid on the ark. Okay, but everything in that turbulent, sediment-filled, boiling water, that's all dead anyway because of all the stuff in the water. Right. Yeah. So yeah, forget about it. That's great. I just want to, Mr. Anderson, before we continue on, I just want to point out, people are just thrilled that you're here, right? We've got Mr. Anderson back. So I'm honored that you're gracing us with your presence here. And folks, Mr. Anderson is linked down below. Need I remind you? And you need
I'm feeling jealous. You should grace my channel with your presence.
You should do that.
You shoot me an email and we'll see what we can do.
You should totally do that. And then from Evil Ginger Miniatures, I'm assuming this is meant to read, Mr. Anderson is a great proper bastard, as I'm assuming what that is. And I think you should take that as a compliment, is what I would assume.
I will choose to do that.
I think that's the appropriate interpretation.
A proper bastard.
Yeah, that's definitely a compliment here. And I also just want to just pull up this comment from Holly Harris. Oh my God, I always miss you live. I just want to say congratulations. Thank you. But this is the part I want to highlight. And that I absolutely love that you have the Butcher's Masquerade. Oh, it's on this side. The Butcher's Masquerade on your shelf these days, which is currently my favorite book. For people who don't know, I'm just going to gush about this for a little bit. There's this freaking fantastic series called Dungeon Crawler Carl, where this dude, and yeah, Mr. Anderson, if you know, you know. Where
I'm familiar with lit RPG. We could go. I have some titles to recommend to you.
Oh, man, have you read DCC? Please tell me. Oh, yeah, okay, good. So this is this dude named Carl and his ex-girlfriend's award-winning show cat named Princess Donut get thrust into what turns out to be an intergalactic reality TV show where they have to survive a multi-level D&D style dungeon crawl. And it sounds absurd, and it is, and it's also hilarious. It's like if Quentin Tarantino made a movie about Dungeons and Dragons, and also a talking goat might make you cry. It is just, everything about this series is amazing, especially if you listen to the audiobooks. The Butcher's Masquerade is book 5, and it is my favorite out of the 7 that are out so far. It is, I can't say, it's so much fun. Anyone wants to nerd out about DCC?
Why does it sound like you're explaining it? It sounds like you're explaining a dream you had.
It's this book series, and it's amazing. It sounds like a fever dream. Yeah, it's a little bit out there. It's wild. Yeah, there's a really, Mr. Anderson, I hope you appreciate the fast-talking New York lawyer in there. One of the best characters, Quasar. It's great. Everything about this series is great. Everyone should read Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Yeah, well, I'll send you an email with some recommendations.
Well, excellent.
If you like that, then there's some.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. All right, so before it's tomorrow, Dr. Chris Thompson, thank you so much for being here. You've been making the rounds on the debate circuit lately, and I will tell you, I've been enjoying every minute of it. So tell us all what you're about, and then we'll talk about your favorite bad science.
I think I'm back.
You're back.
Sorry about that.
You're not back. You're back.
Am I back? I think I'm
You're
back.
back.
I'm back.
Quick, say it.
Yes. Hello. So, okay. So all I heard is that I've been making the rounds and the debate, and then it froze.
And I've been loving it. So tell us what you're all about.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I'm a neuroscientist, right? So that's my background. But I have a deep appreciation and love for evolutionary biology. In fact, my undergraduate degree was ethology and evolutionary biology. So, and it was really the evolution that brought me into that degree. For those that don't know these fancy terms like ethology, that means animal behavior. So then I started to learn more about animal behavior. That got me more into neuroscience, and then it kind of took me down a path of neuroscience. Yeah, but I've always been interested in pseudoscience, and creation evolution in particular has always been my hot button thing. Back when I was an undergrad and graduate student, I was reading PZ Meyer's blog, the same as you, and following the Dover debates and arguing with dummies on the it turns out I was arguing with Sal Cordova a very long time ago on the intelligent design forum from so long ago. I forget what that was called. Do you
Uncommon
remember?
Descent.
Yes, Uncommon Descent.
Oh man,
Exactly.
I just
I
want
was
to
there
say
all the time.
I had that same thing where when I got back into it, because I had the big spike in like 04 to 08 or whatever, and then I, you know, when I went to grad school, I stopped paying attention for a while.
Right.
2014, I got back on Reddit, and on the creation subreddit, I'm going back and forth on the debate evolution, the creation subreddit, and everything. And then there's this one dude who's just always, and it was ST Cordova. And I was like, wait a minute, hang on. Are you Sal from Uncommon Descent? My mind was blown. Yeah.
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 Yeah. I connected those dots soon after I just got into like the YouTube debating around 3 or so years ago. And one of my first debates was with Sal Cordova. So I had Aaron Raw as my partner, and it was Sal and one of Kent Hovind's many ex-wives as our debate partners. As his debate
was it
partner.
Cindy? Cindy
yes,
Lincoln,
it was Cindy.
maybe?
Yes.
It was Cindy.
Yeah.
It was
Yes,
Cindy.
It was Cindy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Was she any good?
No.
She's very nice from what I've seen.
She's very nice.
Really
and
nice.
it's fine.
Very nice.
She,
Nice person.
she's and like the background of how Kent treated her.
She just doesn't seem like a debater. I'm kind of surprised.
No, I think it's really the only time that she's done it, and it was fine. Like, yeah, but it was not
Right. But
yes, especially with Aaron Raw and myself. Like, but just Aaron Raw alone was
no, I didn't ask if she won.
Yeah.
It's totally separate questions.
Yeah. So, but on my YouTube channel, I of course have a fair amount of creation evolution stuff since it's kind of my hobby horse, and I do enjoy that as one of my examples of pseudoscience that I'm a big fan of. But I also talk about neuroscience related things too. So I've had debates on consciousness. I've had discussions on consciousness. So that's even though that's not what I work on, it's just something I like to read about and study. You know, so that's one of the things that I like about the interacting on the YouTube space is that I can learn about stuff. And in fact, that brings me my chance to try to make Dr. Dan blush. Is that watching your videos, it absolutely was. Like, I totally learned. Yes,
I need to sign off, but Chris,
yes,
Dan's got my email, so
yes, we need to connect because I would need some feedback. I'm
gonna make a note to just connect you two, so you two can.
That sounds great.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Anderson, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Anderson, I will find you.
You're welcome to.
I'll find you.
You know, Dr. Dan, make sure Maya's got my email as well.
I'll try to connect people.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we definitely missed you, Mr. Anderson. Definitely
Yes,
missed
see you
you.
again.
Yes.
Yeah, getting back to what I was saying. Yes, Dr. Dan, it's so true though. I learned
going to try to make me blush.
No, I'm not trying to make you blush. I'm being perfectly honest. We're here to celebrate you and your 10K accomplishment, which is really fantastic.
No, we're not. Proud. It's not what we're doing here.
But you deserve it because your content is that good. I always look forward to your videos coming out. You're so good about being on schedule, and I watch every single one, and I learn so much from it. But it's true though. Yes, I mean, like, you know, and like what you were saying about how not everyone can know everything, and that's definitely true. And you know, I know the stuff that I know, but there's a lot that I don't, and I have learned a lot from you, especially on herbs, but on so much. So you know, I really appreciate the work that you do. Yeah, and let's see what else did. Oh yeah, so I'm gonna jump right into my favorite pseudoscience.
Yeah, I want to hear what's
because I have a few things. Yeah. I was thinking about this, and it's like, how do you answer that? Like, there's a few ways. Like, what's my favorite thing to hate, or what's my
what's the best worst thing? It could be your favorite bad argument. It could be the worst argument. So however you want to interpret.
I got a few answers. All right. So, of course, what the Kentucky atheist said, Noah's Ark. I would have to say that's probably my favorite dumb argument, of course, but I don't want to steal his.
Hey, did you hear they just found it? Did you hear they just found it?
Did not again? Yes,
they found it again.
Of course. Yes, of course.
Yeah, they just found it.
Oh, that's
didn't they use seismic stuff this time? Like they
no, this time you can see it in the mountain. It's the boat. The mountain looks like a boat.
Oh.
It's right there in the mountain.
Was it like satellites that they find, or did they actually?
I don't know how they did it. It's just you can see. I just see this picture going around of like a plateau, and it's like got like a vaguely boat shaped like shape to the And it's
Oh,
like,
no,
but
that's
they
been going
thought
around
that
for
with the
decades.
Durham site, they thought that with as well, and it would turned out to just be a natural formation. Because,
shocking.
It's been
Shocking
three different sites.
development.
yeah.
I don't know, maybe it's a different site, but there's like 3 different sites that I know of that where they've
Look,
been
I just
trying to
want to
like
say,
call.
I just want to say, if any creationists watch this, all you have to do to fix a million problems in your, let's call it a model of how all this is supposed to work, let me tell you, Noah's Ark landed on Mount Kilimanjaro. I swear to you, that fixes a million of your problems. It fixes a whole lot of migration and population genetics and human, phylogenetic stuff. I swear to you, trust me.
It fixes only some of it. The human genetics mostly. There's a lot that's problematic.
Look, it solves all the problems though with why is all of humanity phylogenetically nested within sub-Saharan African genetic diversity.
Right.
It solves that problem.
True, but it does not solve why are marsupials largely located in.
That's true. It does not solve your biogeography problem. You still have a biogeography problem.
Well, no, Noah just threw all the marsupials were they got thrown out first as he was, and he just happened to be,
they were the test
and then
case.
some of the elephants were thrown in Asia. Well, I'm sorry, on one side of the boat and the other, and the African elephants were thrown off on this side, and the Indian elephants were thrown off on that side, and
I think you're onto something, though. I think you're onto something, though, because what happened was the dinosaurs were how he tested if we were good to go. Oh, guess we're not good to go. Let's hold everyone back for a little while.
That's right.
Let's wait a little longer.
It also doesn't solve the problem that you have 8 people that get to the amount of people to build the Tower of Babel in less than 100 years. Like that's.
I didn't say it solves every problem. I said it solves a lot of problems. And all of those problems have to do with the pattern of human genetic diversity radiating from sub-Saharan Africa. It solves all those problems for you.
It solves some problems.
It solves a bunch.
I wouldn't even say that's a lot. I would say that is a minority of problems.
There are 4 big problems that it solves. Let's put it that way.
They spend so much time trying to find the boat, and it's like, what difference does that make? Like, if you find a boat on a mountain or something like that, 1, you're not going to be able to prove that that's Noah's Ark. But 2, there's already so many problems with the story. Finding a boat is the least of the things that you need to solve.
We don't have the boat.
We find boats all the time.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, all right. That's the Kentucky atheists, and I don't want to steal his. I would say, okay, there are 2 things that get me hot and bothered right now that are unrelated to creationism, which is fluoridation and the crap around fluoridation.
Yep,
and then also the telepathy tapes is another one. So that's kind of a neuro-related one. Yes.
Yeah.
So both of those, they get me hot and bothered. But I would say like one of my favorite, I want to shout out like a favorite like debunker of some pseudoscience is Mick West. I don't know if anyone knows his channel. So he's a UFO debunker. He used to work in like creating video games. He was like one of the main video game designers for Tony Hawk's skater game or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, right. So and the thing is like he knows physics in virtual spaces, and he knows what things should look like. And so like most of what we have are videos of obscure things like the Navy things that have been released. He's got some amazing videos debunking the Navy UFOs that are supposedly supposed to be UFOs.
Say the name of that channel again.
Mick West, and it's great content.
Mick, M as in Mary,
Mick, and then West.
It's like M as in Mary.
Yep,
like
I'm going to put it
though, not Nick.
Correct.
I am putting that link in the chat so everyone can see it. There you go.
Yeah, it's great stuff. Yes.
Cool.
That's awesome. And I will say the fluoridation stuff is just like, what are we doing? We're just systematically undoing a century of public health. It's just like,
I know. There's
a reason that like many of our parents' generation had bad teeth, and we don't, and our kids don't / won't. And like fluoridation is a huge part of that. And we're just like,
Yes. Well, so okay. There's a fair there is a legitimate debate to be had about fluoridation, in that it isn't necessary per se, as long as you have an adequate healthcare system that allows for easy accessibility to good dental care, especially early on in childhood.
So what you're saying is it's necessary in the United States.
It's necessary in the United States is exactly what I'm saying. Yes. So there's a reason why many European countries.
Dental isn't covered under our medical system, so that's the one thing.
Yeah.
No, ours either in Australia.
Oh, and yours as well.
So,
okay, so
a lot of the places with public healthcare systems don't cover.
Don't do dental.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's privatized. Yeah.
So, like for instance, Denmark, they don't fluoridate their water, and they have relatively low natural rates of fluoride in their drinking water. There are other places that actually have relatively high levels of fluoride in their water, so they don't have to fluoridate, but they have natural high levels of fluoride.
Yeah,
they already get the benefit. That's how we discovered this whole phenomenon, anyway. But okay, Denmark they don't, but they have pretty good dental health there. So children there have about equivalent of dental health as they do here in the United States. But a big difference is that in Denmark, more than 99% of all children will have seen a dentist at least once before the age of 6. And in the United States, it's less than 50%.
There you go.
Yeah.
I just want to say, related to this, I mean, next they'll take the iodine out of table salt. Don't even joke. Don't even joke that we have solved.
Oh, they've been moving there.
We have solved hypothyroidism, and they're just like, bring goiter back, right? Like, let's go back to iodine deficiencies. There is no doubt in my mind that that's on the chopping block.
I haven't heard that, because I do pay attention to that space, the whole Maha space a little bit, and the woo around all of that. I haven't heard them trying to say that we need to take iodine out of salt, and they are big on like people taking excess iodine. This is like a big thing that like the
really.
Oh yeah, so like Alex Jones.
Does it expand the pineal gland?
Right, I know, right? Like so. They talk about how important it is to get sufficient levels of iodine. Like that is a big thing within that space.
Maybe,
now,
but
they can flip.
Natural iodine? Is it natural iodine or is it fake big pharma?
Yeah, that's a good question. Right? I'm trying to. Right.
Well, I mean, it's incredible that a first world country has a measles outbreak of the scope that
don't even get me started.
Well, France had one as well.
We're not serious people.
No. Unfortunately, vaccination rates have gone down in many countries, not just the United States.
I will say, I am not a medical doctor. I'm not a medical doctor. I want to preface this with, I am not a medical doctor, but I did talk to my doctor, and I just this year, within the year 2025, I re-upped my MMR just to be safe, because there's conflicting on just how, long lasting that protection is. So I talked to my doctor and opted to re-up my MMR. And Tdap, they say, is that's a tetanus, diphtheria, and pertussis. They say that every 10 years. I re-upped mine just to make sure, because all of these fun diseases that we got rid of 40, 50, 60 years ago are coming back.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for smallpox to appear again.
Don't even joke.
I work in healthcare, so I have to get my antibodies. So
you get your antibodies checked.
Jobs, so.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Just so you
every time I switch jobs,
That's wild.
Okay, so I do. It's almost 11 here. I do have to work in the morning. Dr. Dan, congratulations! I'm so excited for you.
Thank you so much for being here.
I am honored to be.
I
gotta have you back on my show. I'm looking at the second half of my year, and I had a lot of new people in the beginning of the year, and I want to bring back my favorites, and you're definitely high in the priority.
Get me. I'm flattered. You know where to find me. I am in. I can't wait for Dr. Tapioca Weasel to torture me with more mitochondria stuff for several hours. I can't wait.
Torture him back with magnets.
Yeah,
torture him back with magnets.
Yeah, seriously. Mark, I haven't forgotten about you either. It's just been
I know. No, I got you. It's all good. All good.
Dr. Chris, I don't know if you're
great meeting you,
late on a Sunday, but I would. No, I mean, if you're up late on a Sunday, we'd love to have you on.
I am. Absolutely. Reach out. That would be great.
Everybody.
Yeah.
And folks, if you are not subscribed to Maya, what are you even doing? Go hang out on every Sunday for Bad Science Sunday. It is a freaking delight. Go hang out with them. It's wonderful.
Maya, we have fun over here. All right. Thank you for inviting.
So folks, It has been almost 2 hours, so I think this is a pretty good time to wrap this up. So what I want to do is a couple things. First, I want to thank everybody that was here. Most of you are linked down below. Some of you are not, and I will make sure I add you if you were
I think
here.
those links are mostly broken.
Are they? They've all been working for me. Are they broken?
I saw the same thing that Mark saw. A lot of them were broken. I don't know why.
The ones that have the names are like Mr. Anderson and Dr. Chris Thompson are working, but the ones with their other URL alternative are not working for some reason.
And you know the thing is, they were all working before and they've since turned into the URL ones. All right, I'll fix all those links. I'll make sure that all the links are good so everybody can go subscribe to everybody that's here. You should all subscribe to everybody that's here.
Sorry, I just thought I'd mention it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe something weird about it being a live stream, and I don't know, because I did see like it turned to the real names and then switched to the real links. Like,
because
it was glitching or something.
I had it as the real names, and now I see a bunch of them as not the real names. But look, folks, before we wrap up, RJ Downer made it. RJ, tell everybody.
Yeah, I waited until the number of people in the StreamYard was down below critical ratio. I was putting my comments in the live feed, though.
Folks, RJ. Well, it's probably broken, but he'll be down there. So you should subscribe to RJ. RJ, tell everybody what you do real fast.
Yeah, I got into this going after creationism stuff by a weirdly circuitous path, starting to kind of look at young earth creationism that was really in the big time in the 1980s. And then the intelligent design crowd came along. I happened to live in the same town. Steve Myers was teaching up at Whitworth back when he was in the day. And one thing kind of led to another. And I started this up as a little hobby. And the late Strike really pushed me into start doing actual videos and set up the whole Evolution Hour thing. And then I bumped into Jackson Wheat when he said, hey, I'm going to be doing a criticism of all the Answers in Genesis anti-evolution books. Would you like to co-author that? And after 1/1,000,000,000 of a second, I said, hell yes. So there we go.
Well, let's face it, creationism and intelligent design are exactly the same thing.
It's a big one. It was literally at the upper boundary of how you could print that up at Amazon. Anything bigger was I had to shrink the fonts down for the footnotes and references and stuff to make it fall within the boundary layer. The volume 2 will be probably just as big, and I will call attention to our books. I got novels too, kids.
There you go, folks. Support RJ.
Yeah, my Paralogs Aphelios Fog science fiction series. I got 9 of those that we'll be doing after the 3rd one that I get out. So that'll keep me busy down to the point where I keel over dead on my typewriter or screen on the computer.
Decades more. We've got decades more before we do that. All right, RJ, thank you for jumping back in because RJ, he's been doing this for a long time. And I will tell you, this is one of my favorite go-tos right here. You just go to the glossary in this thing and you can find anything you need. This is a one-stop shop for where did this argument come from?
Yeah.
Who came up with this and why is it nonsense? It's all right here. This is great.
And if you like volume 1, wait till you see what we got in the lurch for volume 2. Holy smokes, there's stuff in there. More screwball bits on Andrew Snelling, a whole breakdown of the whole flood mythology bit, which of course we continue to call the big slosh. It's not a commonly. I love to make charts, and you've noticed in volume 1 where we had things on like feathered theropods and all that, to where you could go in one fell swoop and see the kind of material you needed. It's not a commonly known thing.
Just open to a random page. Sure.
How wide the range is on when the flood took place within the creationist community. And when they see the bloody chart that spreads across like 1,000 years, it's just preposterously wide within the creationist community using the same sources. It's an absolute killer. And then while I was kibitzing in the side feed, I was busy working on the cosmology chapter for the new book, which is my big bailiwick. I have to mellow into all the stuff. And one of the charts that's going to be a killer in there is on the fine-tuning argument. That nobody, when they put this stuff out, like the stupid Privileged Planet book, that they never, almost never give specific details of how much of the variation you can allow. So it was a pain in the ass to try to track all of that stuff down. And it turns out none of them are so finely tuned that you're like a millionth of a thing. A couple fall within like under a percentage, which is not bad. But the vast majority of them are really broad, and almost half of them fall within many orders of magnitude. And so nobody has ever kind of put all of this crap together in one fell swoop so that everybody can see what the hell's going on. So we are having fun times in the old town tonight. And then I've got masses of material downstairs to sort through to put into all the material that's going to be the human evolution chapter. And Jerry Bergman's going to be raked over the coals on all the claptrap he does about Darwinian racism. There's going to be stuff on Louis Pasteur and how creationists suppress information of their racist past. Oh, it's a lot.
I'm excited for it. I am looking forward to it. I can't wait. So RJ, thank you.
And you know what we're going to be doing? Jackson and I are not done after that, because the book we're going to be doing after that is on the whole conspiracy theory mindset. So there we'll be going after anti-vaxxers, climate science deniers, and all that stuff. I think the tentative working title is "They're All In on It." And then the one that I'm hoping we eventually get to, which I suspect will probably end up a 3-volume effort, is a history of the origin, evolution, and history of religion among our species.
That is plenty to keep everybody busy. RJ, thanks for popping in here. I can't emphasize this enough, everybody. You got to check out RJ's stuff, tracing this stuff back through all the lineage of the nonsense. It's invaluable.
I'm sorry, I've got to hear RJ's favorite argument.
Oh yeah, RJ, what's your favorite?
Oh, I brought it up earlier. To me, the absolute go-to and really got me going in terms of method, this is a 100% failure rate. I literally know of nobody in the entire history of anti-evolution who has ever fulfilled this. And that is, if you ask them, and that's why it's the go-to question. In fact, I think Dan and others have always hit the same point, is what evidence would persuade you to change your mind? What would a transitional form need to look like for you to go, well, that's a transitional form, that's for sure. Nobody can do that, literally. And that was the case from St. George Mivart down in the 1870s all the way down to the latest crowd floating around at the Discovery Institute.
To be clear,
no exception.
We have one example of somebody answering that question, and it was just a few weeks ago. It was Jerry Bergman with Erica, and his answer was basically what we see. It was the answer.
Wow.
His answer,
famously in the Ken Ham versus Bill Nye debate, that question was asked. And
whole point behind the rocks were there. Or Evolution Slam Dunk, the other book that I mentioned. That was my first one off the thing. This is the book that goes into how anti-evolutionists cover the reptile-mammal transition, which is not many of them, and all of them get it wrong. Hey, Dan, I'd be really sweet. I still would love it if you would go ask the people there at Rutgers, would they like to do an illustrated, properly structured volume 2, and you can write the introduction to it.
We'll talk. Okay.
Yeah, get in touch with them on it, because I've got all the material organized downstairs. The only thing I couldn't put in the book was illustrations, and we'd have to have like rights and crap too. But other than that, Christine Janis said that's the only thing it was missing to do basically a college level course book was just the fact, those charts and stuff that we allude to in the book. So a Rutgers thing, that would be literally a college level work.
There you go. All right.
Awesome.
RJ, thank you so much for popping in here right at the end. And we just got one last super chat here from Earthly Skeptic for if I could pull it up, for $4.99. I remember Dapper asking Dr. Dino how he could tell the difference between a dinosaur skeleton and a bird skeleton. Guess what? Kent couldn't. Yep, that is one of the all-time Kent debates. Can you define what a dinosaur is? And the answer was no.
Yep.
Was amazing, because that whole, for folks who haven't seen it, you should Google this and find it. But the whole setup for the debate was just birds are dinosaurs, not birds are descended from dinosaurs, nothing with evolution, just birds check the boxes to be dinosaurs. That was it.
You know who I nailed directly on these various issues One was Jonathan Wells on bird evolution, Archaeopteryx. 2, Philip Johnson directly on the reptile-mammal transition. And 3, Michael Behe on whales. I go into all of that in the old Evolution Slam Dunk book. That was some of my joyous moments to pointedly frame it in such a way that they were not perceiving me as some kind of a critic or enemy, and they would literally be able to apply their non-existent model to what they would cause them to change their mind. And none of them could think about it. In fact, Philip Johnson even said, "Uh-oh, you're falling into an evolutionary trap if you start thinking that way."
If you start thinking about it.
You took off your Bible glasses and you put your evolution glasses on, is what happened there. And we can't have that. That's not allowed. Not allowed. All right, so I have 2 quick things I want to do as we wrap up here, folks. One is I have to share my favorite bad little science thing. And you're probably thinking, oh, that's going to be like junk DNA, or like the fact that creationists say junk DNA doesn't exist when it does. Or it might be, my air filter just started going wild. Hang on a second. It's allergy season. I have to run an air filter constantly. Or maybe genetic entropy, because, genetic entropy. But no, my favorite thing actually is flood related. And it's from our friend Donnie Deal, Standing for Truth, when his argument against the heat problem, his solution to the heat problem was, well, we know there wasn't a heat problem because if there was that much heat, that would have left signatures in the rocks, and we don't see the signs of that much heat.
So there can't have been one.
The heat was dealt with. The heat from the flood was dealt with.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would see it'd be all like molten rock.
You would see signs of the heat.
Of course. Yes. Obviously.
Yeah. There's going to be a summary on that in Rocks 2. In an info box entitled "Was Adam and Eve Toast?" which was the title of one of the persons that's brought this up earlier.
Just that little bit of that.
That was his argument.
Yeah, that one, Mark. If you go back a couple of years, that argument won the Cambrian Bunny that year for the worst argument.
Wow.
Yeah, well deserved.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was, well, we know there's a solution to the heat problem because there's no sign of heat in all the rocks. Therefore, the heat dissipated somehow, and it was fine. Like,
the one thing that it's important for all of us in this network to pay attention to is, because we can come at it from a lot of different aspects, it's to keep track of the cases where the creationists are at odds with each other, because an awful lot, that heat matter does not pop up in the surface apologetics. You don't find it being highlighted at AIG, CMI, or ICR. You have to burrow way down into the technical literature where you get these just absolutely flaming issues brought up, or for that matter, the discussion of natural selection with ICR or any of these things. It's down in their little obscure bits, and they will want to hide that from the general public, but we need to bring it up. Force them to look at it.
So the very last thing I want to do before we go, folks, well, actually, the second to last thing I want to do is once again remind you all, once I fix those links that got weird, I swear they all worked before because they all had the names before, and now they don't. When I fix those links, click and subscribe to everybody. That's linked down below. And also, there's Maddie from Science Side Up was going to be here, and then something came up and she couldn't. But she's down there too. Make sure you subscribe to her. But the other thing is,
I'm going to be going through all of them to make sure that they're active, and those that I haven't already subscribed to, I will be doing so.
Excellent. And the last thing I want to do, so I'm just gonna say goodbye to Mark, Chris, and RJ. Thank you all for being here. I'm gonna boot you for just a second while I wrap this up. So
no problem.
Thank you all for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with all of you, and everyone subscribe to these wonderful people. So the last thing I want to do is I want to tell you all about the kind of part 2 of my 10K party that I'm going to host soon. I don't have a date pinned down for this, but it'll be within the next couple of weeks at some point soon. So what we're going to do is I'm going to host a bit of a trivia show with some friends, and you're going to recognize some of the people here. And when I put up a link for the show, you'll see who's going to be there. It'll be people you know. And I am compiling the worst creationist arguments imaginable made by professional creationists, just the worst Kent Hovind's level nonsense, coming out of the mouths of professionals with PhDs from Answers in Genesis and CMI and ICR and all the rest. And so we're going to play a bit of a trivia game where my wonderful panelists, my contestants, are going to have to correctly guess which creationist made these absolutely awful arguments. And I'm so glad you brought it up, because you can do bingo cards if you want. If you want, I can put up a list. I have a whole list of bad arguments, some of which will be included, some of which won't be. But if maybe I can put the list up ahead of time so everybody can play along with us. Yeah, it's but just like the most, like, have you ever seen a dog come from a dog come from a non-dog, or tornado in a junkyard? Like the absolute, like, bottom, subterranean basement level creationist arguments coming from professionals, people like Michael Behe or Nathaniel Jeanson or whoever, right? People with PhDs. So yeah, guess who, but with bad arguments. That's what it's going to be. And I'm really excited for this. I just have to get a date and, set it up with everybody, but that's going to be coming up in a few weeks. And I'm really excited for it. So thank you all, everybody, for being here, hanging out with us. Remember, every guest that I had on, I'm going to have them linked down below, plus a couple of people who were going to be on and then couldn't for one reason or another. They're also going to be down below. And make sure you just click those links and then, subscribe to all of them and, watch all their stuff and make sure that you're recommending their stuff around, because everybody here, the whole point is they deserve much bigger audiences than they have. So I want to connect everyone's networks and make sure that all works. Here's what you should do right here. Send me that list and I'll make official bingo cards. Email me. It's I'm going to put in the chat right here real fast. Creation Myths Channel @gmail. Email me and I will send you that list that I've compiled so you can actually make those bingo cards. That'd be fantastic. All right. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you all being here. Have a great night. Stay healthy. As always, don't get fooled. And I will see you later. Good night, everybody. Thanks again for being here.